this is India, and it's very important for us that this teacher did not teach in any way except great sort of lines of students standing up, giving them a talk or a lecture every day, great discipline. This is the way he teaches today. And he tells us what all the teachers tell us. They've never enjoyed teaching so much. Discipline problems have gone down, and parents are more involved. 3 pretty good things. This is Mongolia. The only reason I show it is that we're active there. 50% of the people are nomadic. This is Iraq. It came in last week. It's interesting to be doing that region for all the obvious reasons. This is Nigeria. This is Uruguay. The teacher of this particular classroom had been teaching for 30 years. She heard the laptops were coming. So she went to the Social Security office and asked for early retirement. The Social Security office said, come back in 4 weeks, because we have to process it. So she goes back, and during the intervening period, the laptops arrive. So, of course, she's with the students and doing it. And after 2 days, she goes back to the Social Security office and says, I want late retirement. Completely changed her view of teaching, and even though she had been doing it for 30 years, she wanted to do it for another 30. It's the same kids in Uruguay, the lucky ones who get to go to school on a horse. And my last slide, to me, was important, not necessarily to you, but Uruguay issued a postage stamp recently with the laptop on it, so I thought that was pretty good. If you can get yourself onto a postage stamp, it means you've leaked into the culture. And I think leaking into the culture is what this entire innovation push is about here in this region, is to get it culturally part of it, for children to aspire to it, for parents to want their children to aspire to it. That's key, not just being on postage stamps and not just having teachers who want late retirement. It's a whole cultural movement. And I just picked one project, which is the one I've been doing, but I hope it's an example that you can use as sort of a combination of not only innovation, but the resolve to do it, the absolute, unequivocal commitment to do it. And when people say something's impossible, I consider that as an invitation to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much in advance, Professor Negroponte. Now we have the opportunity to share any doubts with our guests, although unfortunately we have not much time to do it. So you have any question, please ask for the hand microphone, and we'll try to translate it. Any question? Galderarik egin nahi baldin baduzue, eskuko mikrofonoa hor bada bat.
Hola.
Bye.
Professor Negroponte, I would like to ask you about the software. You have said that the goal was to make free and open source software with the laptop we will use. Recently, your projects have received some criticism from free software movement, and especially from Richard Stallman. Will the software in the laptops be free? Free as in a beer, free as in freedom, in the sense that Free Software Foundation considers it free?
Yes, it will be free and open source. What you're referring to that other people may not know about is that the laptops will also dual boot Windows. And what's important about that is if you think of the Apple laptop, it was not very widely used. Corporations couldn't buy an Apple laptop because their IT department had to support Windows. And as soon as Apple included Windows in the dual boot Apple, it made it a very popular machine, even if people don't use Windows. So we had to look at the situation, because some countries, the Minister of Education says it must be Windows. Well, we have a dual boot machine, and that's the best way to reach the most children. So as long as it's always dual boot and you always have the free and open source and you have the million books and you have all the open source software coming in, if you have the ability at the keyboard also, if you want, this is just the ability to do it, to fire up Windows, it's got to be the best of all possible options. So that's what we chose to do.
Zakit, galdera gehiagorik egin nahi duzuen. Eman dizkigun azalpen guztiekin ase ez, baina erlojuak ere aurrera egiten du, eta galdera gehiagorik ez badago aretoan. Eskerrik asko. Thank you, Mr. Negroponte. I think there's another one. Sorry, yes. Another one.
Entzuten da? Ez?
Bai.
Bai?
Bai.
Bakarrik galdera bat. Bueno, esan dezu, aurrak edo, bai, azken finean, garapen bidean dauden aurra hauek komunikatzeko beharra daukatela, ez? Komunikatzeko beharra daukate, baina gaur egun oraindik ez gera gai, beraik elikatzeko eskubide hori bermatzera, ez? Azken finean, gaur orain aurreko ostiralean estrenatu zen pelikula batek dion bezala, gozez hiltzen den aur bat, gaur egun hemen asesinato edo erailketa bat bezala ulertu beharko genuke. Maslowen piramidea non gelditzen da guzti honetan?
You know, this question is frequently asked, and the answer is very simple. If you substitute the word education for the word laptop, nobody asks a question. Nobody would ever say, we must only have education after we have primary medicine, after we have clean water, after we've solved the hunger problems. People always have education in parallel with those. And if a child is starving, then food is the most important. If a child is very sick, medicine is the most important. But education is also something we do in parallel. So the belief has to be that the laptop is an integral part and a way to get primary education. If you don't believe that, then we are simply like an iPod or an accessory and a luxury, and your question is well-founded. I think in many cases, if you have a tree and no teacher, as happens many times, particularly in regions that are very remote, you can put a school in a box. I'm not trying to get rid of teachers, but it seems to me that that is a very powerful way to get education to children who wouldn't get it otherwise. So that's why it happens in parallel, as if the word laptop meant education.
Thank you. Another one. Este galdera bat.
En el año 1995 el profesor enunció un objetivo que entonces parecía absolutamente imposible de alcanzar. Creo que dijo, estarán conectados a Internet pronto en un periodo de años, no de siglos, más de 1.000 millones de personas. Esa visión de lo que es el desarrollo de Internet, una herramienta de transformación absolutamente decisiva, se cumplió en el año 2005. El profesor tuvo otra visión que también enunció. El desarrollo de Internet, de esa herramienta básica de transformación de la humanidad, se va a producir en el futuro básicamente en los países emergentes. Y esto paso a paso, cuando vemos el crecimiento de la comunidad de internautas de China, de India, de otros países emergentes, cuando vemos la fortaleza del crecimiento de su economía, cuando vemos la capacidad que tienen ya de producir y de aumentar su productividad, cuando nos damos cuenta que esas naciones que están emergiendo están desplazándonos poco a poco a los países ricos de la Tierra, de lo que es el concierto económico mundial. Esa visión de que ahí se va a generar una fuente de conocimiento fuertísima